Okay, team, Hormozi just pulled off the insanest launch in internet history, likely netting him more than $100 million in sales. And guys, it's a masterclass in building funnels. And so I, of course, needed to pull all the learnings for us. And what I found is quite mind-bending. So in the next couple of minutes, I'll break down the entire funnel, all offers that he ran, and most importantly, I modeled the entire funnel into 2 simple Perspective funnel templates that you can copy and paste into your own account after watching this video. So let's jump right in. I literally spent hours and hours doing research, and I tried to get all the pages and really see like what leads where, which was quite the amount of work. And so I synthesized all of that into this very simple fig gem for you guys so you can model it step by step, because that's exactly what I'll do. So at the end of the day, of course, what does he start with? He starts with promoting the events and promoting the registration, right? So in this case, what I find very, very interesting is that Hormozi really pulls all the triggers. He uses his organic reach to drive registrations. He goes on podcasts to drive registrations. He runs ads. He has an affiliate program, all that good stuff, right? So he really uses all the ammunition that he has. And there's some interesting learnings in here as well, but for today's video, I'll focus a little bit more on the funnel. And the first step, of course, is the registration funnel, right? And so if we want to use some of his terminology here in terms of what he's also describing in his book, $100 Million Models, then this is essentially the attraction offer. It's a free event. He pitches the event with lots of value, like 5 mystery headliners, right? Free gifts, all that good stuff. And that is basically his attraction offer in this entire funnel. And so landing page is quite simple. We have a headline up here. We have an image here that, one more time, should most likely up the perceived value with 4 surprise bonus gifts, right? Just immediately giving you another value proposition with a simple button to then register for the event. On click of that button, we have this little window appearing where you can enter your first name, last name, email address, phone number, as well as answer the question of, do you own a business? Now, interestingly, I haven't seen him segmenting the leads in a specific way on the basis of this answer, but I'm pretty sure he'll use that data in some shape or form later throughout the funnel, or has actually used that data, but it wasn't necessarily super easy to see from the outside. And so other than that, we have a little bit of social proof in here. We have a little bit of urgency added with a timer, and that is pretty much the entire registration funnel, right? So that is where we start. From that attraction offer, we are then sent to a quote-unquote thank you page, or better said, a Tripwire offer. And this is actually a concept that we're also using in one of our funnels. We run a successful webinar funnel, and we basically, after the registration, after the attraction offer, we immediately have a Tripwire offer, which essentially is, in his case, his core offer, right? Because he does sell the book. That's the main thing that he's selling on the entire launch. But you could also consider it to be more of an upsell in this case, right? And especially how it's sequenced with the registration before. There's one interesting further thing here when you actually purchase this Tripwire offer, but I'll get to that in a bit. So essentially for the page here, what do we have? We have watch this quick message from Alex Hormozi to maximize the launch event. One more time, all the details for the event, live August 16th. And then of course a prominent button. Now in this case, there was also a VSL. I unfortunately don't have the VSL because I snatched that screenshot from Wayback Machine. But I actually saw on Twitter that there were a bunch of people breaking down the exact VSLs, which is a little bit outside of the scope of this video. But generally speaking, it was a masterclass. It was super well done, and he did leverage VSLs on nearly all of his pages. And so we have a classic positioning of a Tripwire page here, right? Where we say, hey, registered, one more step, do not exit. We try to make sure that people stay on this page with their attention. And then from there on, he leads into what this VIP upgrade, what this Tripwire offer, this upsell basically gets you. Or one interesting thing that I heard is that he actually upsells you on 15 books instead of just 1 pre-order book in the VIP access when you run through this purchase. Unfortunately, couldn't find the page, but I think it's quite, it makes a lot of sense, because that exact upsell, these 15 books, is also what happens afterwards when you actually go and purchase the book from the launch, but we'll get to that in a second as well. Now, the most important thing here with this entire Tripwire offer is that at the end of the day, what does he use it for? He uses it for client finance acquisition, right? So he spends all this money on distribution. He spends all this money to go on the podcast within ads and all that good stuff. And then from there on, he of course wants to make that money back, right? To have better cash flow efficiency. And so he uses that Tripwire offer, that VIP access that he sells, to refinance his entire acquisition motion and his entire distribution, but with client funds, right? With purchases. And interestingly, we do the exact same thing within our webinar funnel, right? So we have the Tripwire offer. People are creating trials for our software, for example, and from there on, we sell a more advanced, a higher price offer on the webinar itself. And that in turn also basically means that we're getting all these trials for free, right? Because we're profitable in the front end. So that's the main idea. That's the same thing that he's using here. Now, from there on, after you either purchase and or click on no thanks, I don't want to pre-order or get VIP, you led to this attendance page. It's quite straightforward. He, one more time, shows you exactly where to attend, when to attend, has a couple buttons here for you to add the event to the calendar. Nothing super special, but quite straightforward. And I think it's always super important to have this type of page, just because, of course, the attendance of the webinar or the attendance of the live launch is the next most important conversion, right? You want to make sure that all people get to the actual launch, because that's where you're going to sell your next product. And now what's also pretty interesting is that we get a bunch of emails from Alex as well as Layla to then join the launch. And that is also something that we have learned over and over again. At the end of the day, send more emails, send more messages, especially when it's about increasing show-up rates to webinars or to sales calls for that matter. So it's really important that you have this dialed in. Now, in his case, He has a 48 hours reminder, right? Then a 3 hours reminder. We're almost live, and then we're live now. And then Layla sends another email while he is live, just simply saying, hey, Alex is live and killing it, come and hop on. So we basically have these 5 attendance emails right here. From there on, we of course have the YouTube Live, which is also a masterpiece in webinars. It was really, really well done. From what I heard, Jason Flatline was also the strategist behind this. He also has done the web.com launch with Iman Gadzi. So definitely a man to study as well. And I think he also crafted much of the presentation or much of the structure at least. And so that entire thing, it's a 7-hour piece. I really encourage you to watch it back, at least the first couple of hours, because it's really, really insightful as to how they craft these webinars for also maximum conversion, right? And keeping people engaged. So that's the YouTube Live. From that YouTube Live, we of course start to get the offer emails, and we get these offer emails while he is still live, right? So first of all, made this for you. That's the first part where he started to reveal the offer within the live session and during the live launch. And from there on, he has launch bonus gone when live stream ends to create some extra urgency for people to still hop on if they haven't hopped on. And then launch bonus expires in 60 minutes. Now, the interesting part here is that of course, from there on, we have lots of further emails that are either intended to close you on the deal, or in his case, what I also find very, very interesting, or found very interesting, is that he repeated the entire thing live again, right? And I'm not sure if he communicated that before, but I don't think he did. So basically just repeats that entire thing to get attendance up, right? So he doubles his amount of work essentially just to get more people to watch the live. And that is how important attendance to the actual webinar is when you're selling something on a webinar, right? So it really is a life or death metric as to how many people that sign up actually go and attend the webinar. But that's a quick riff on webinars in general and attendance rates. But from there on, that's what you're really interested in, right? Is what the launch offer actually is. So from there on, he started to pitch this launch offer. And this is the launch offer page that you can see right here. We have another VSL, a couple of product images, and then you can choose between the 100 million money models bundle for $6,000, right? So it's basically 200 books that you're purchasing here with a bunch of digital product / info product add-ons. So you get 12 playbooks, a live virtual implementation workshop, lifetime access to the $100 million AI, the $100 million money models book, one hardback in this case, and a redemption code for 199 physical copies. So he stacked all of that with the amount of books that he was basically selling to you. Now that is the primary core offer of the entire launch, right? So we basically have the $6,000 offer, which also could be considered an upsell if you have purchased the book already, right? And then interestingly, at the same time, that's a downsell that we have right there, right? So we have this huge $6,000 offer. From there on, we also have a $29 offer, which is the ultimate downsell in this case. And so you have the option to choose between the two here. Now, when you run through the checkout like that, there is another upsell coming right after, but I'll get to that in a bit here. What's also really interesting is that for the downsell, now considering you only want to purchase the book in this case for $29, there's an order bump that we see right here, right? So with the click of a button, you can basically add 15 copies for 450 USD to your order with 2 more info products as far as I see. So in this case, the ACQ advertising handbook and the ACQ closer handbook. So that is then additionally added to your order. In this case, this could be considered an up/cross-sell, right? Because it's additional products that you're purchasing with that main purchase that you're running through. But essentially this tactic is called an order bump, right? And it's a really, really effective tactic to just increase your average order value by a bit, because let's say 5% of people choose to actually go and then again increase their order value. That is significant amounts of money later down the funnel in general, especially with the amounts of people that he ran through this entire thing, right? Okay, now going back to the core offer, which is the $6,000 offer, right? So once you ran through the $6,000 offer and you actually did purchase that thing, there's a bunch of further emails on driving urgency, on making sure that people purchase this launch offer as much as possible. But if you have purchased this launch offer, you get to the next upsell page, which is in this case the ACQ advisory. When we take the concepts from the book, what it basically is a continuity offer, right? So in this case, he's selling access to himself, the advisory team, other business owners, and 6 live virtual intensives for $3,000 a month for 6 months. And truthfully, what it is a school community, right? So it's a school community that he's selling here. And it's quite interesting that he then from there on tries to sell you on a continuity offer, right? And it's the ultimate upsell also from the previous $6,000 launch offer that you just purchased. Now, the interesting mechanism that we also have here, because at the end of the day, right, it's a $18,000 offer, so $3,000 a month times 6. But you are only paying $3,000 more today, which already feels quite easy when you just have purchased a $6,000 offer, right? So it's pretty cool how he placed that right here in the funnel. Now, considering you didn't go with purchasing the ACQ advisory, you're sent to the core offer thank you page in this case. So quite simple, straightforward. What are the next steps and what can you do from here? But if you did purchase that, as I already said, you're essentially becoming part of this ACQ at Scale Advisory school community. And that's the third upsell that he has in this entire process. Now, there's one further upsell that we found on Twitter. And I think most people haven't heard of him actually implementing something like this. But Matt just posted this thing on Twitter where he said, you guys are not going to believe this. There is a secret upsell to the upsell to the upsell. So after that second upsell, which is the $18,000 offer, right? The 800 books or the ACQ Scale Advisory for $3,000 times 6 months. There's a third upsell, which is $100,000. And people are buying it, supposedly. So I haven't seen that be confirmed other than with this tweet or through this tweet. And Matt also pointed out that it's basically an email from Layla to people who bought the 18K option. So that is really, really interesting to see. I think it's safe to say that Hormozi made above $100 million with this launch, and I'd be super, super curious to actually see the numbers. But now for the next part, there's one thing that I find even more interesting, because from there on, he goes and launches the ultimate downsell after the entire launch, right? So we just had hundreds of thousands registering for the launch, hundreds of thousands purchasing a $29 book, and a fraction of those, or most likely a good fraction, purchasing a $6,000, $18,000, or $100,000 offer. Now from there on, for all of these people that he didn't convert, there's one more thing, he implements, which is the ultimate downsell, and that was exposed through these couple of emails. So there was one more email saying, as promised, a surprise, my secret project revealed, and one more free gift. And what he does, and that is super, super interesting, that is also the thing that he sold on the launch, or for VIP access, right? And that is where it all ties back. But basically, now from there on, you also have the option to go to school.com/Hormozi, which then again has urgency to it because it expires in 5 days. I think it expires on the 23rd of August, but you get a 3-month free trial of school. It continues at $9 per month after free trial. You can cancel anytime. Inside the school account, you'll also find the audiobook course and a surprise bonus training that he made, right? So more info products in this case, and all the content that he has created for the book. And what I find very, very interesting is that, as I said, it's the ultimate downsell, right? So you have a massive attraction offer, 3-month trial, where you usually, I think, don't even get a trial, and a $9 product. So it's the lowest that he can possibly go. And what is also very interesting is if you then take a look at his ads library, you'll find that he just launched hundreds of ads pitching that exact offer, right? So now he's trying to squeeze all of the people that have attended and or heard of the launch but didn't attend and didn't purchase anything into that last offer, the $9 3-month trial, or the 3-month trial with $9 in continuity, right? And so, as I said, this is the ultimate downsell because you can't go cheaper. You can't have a more attractive attraction offer because it's 3 months for free. And now he's just trying to make sure that all the no's that he received are turned into yeses still. And that is also a concept that he teaches within his book, where he tries to say, like, there should never be a no to a sale. There should always be some form of yes that is set to any of your products. That's how well your products or your offers should be structured. Exactly. As I said, right? So that is basically where it comes together. We have a simple school landing page, but this is also what you're sold on through the VIP ticket. So if you purchase the VIP ticket, you get all the premium resources, and included is the school free trial. So the 3-month trial. So from there on, even if you just purchased the $29 book, you also now are let into this next offer, which is the school free trial, which is a continuity offer. Although it's quite low in price, he still tries to get some recurring revenue out of you. So that is how this entire thing fits together. I find it very, very interesting, and there's many concepts that I'll definitely take over into our funnels. And for that's exactly why I rebuilt both of these. So the registration funnel, which is exactly what you see up here, plus the entire launch offer funnel within Perspective. And it actually went quite fast, so it doesn't really take me a long time. And I'll actually break down exactly what that looks like within the app. Okay, so starting with the $100 million registrations, which is at the end of the day, right, you getting registrations for your launch, as well as selling on that first upsell. And so in Perspective, you can see we have the first page modeled right here, simply with an image. In this case, it's a GIF up here. The YouTube live banner is there as well. We have a sick, thick headline, and then we have the button and the timer with a little bit of social proof, exactly like Hormozi's page was structured. And from there on, we have the sign up page with the loading bar to increase conversions, right? And then from there on, we have the first upsell page. So in this case, we again say, hey, you're registered. There's one more step, do not exit. We have the information on the actual live launch again. We have the headline, then we have the VSL, and from there on, we have the pitch of the upsell offer that we're having, right? So it's very similarly structured to how Hormozi has done it. Again, you also have the option to say, no thanks, I want to miss the VIP access, which is exactly when you're just sent to the confirmation page. But this is the first page that we're running here. And this is also, as I said, something that we're doing super actively in our webinar funnel, where we also had thousands and thousands of people be sent through. Exactly. Then we, of course, when you click on this button right here, we have the upsell checkout. So in this case, you can simply run through the checkout. And the beautiful thing within Perspective, of course, is that you can edit all of this, right? So you can edit the text. So for example, we have maybe a different offer that we have right here. Then we could, of course, change the entire images. And if you want to add a section, let's say we do want to add a section, we just quickly click on the plus right here. And for example, introduce ourselves, right? If that's what we want to do. So we just click on that section template, add it to the funnel. Of course, everything is fully customizable. And the beautiful thing here as well is if we just quickly switch to the desktop version, everything is beautiful and responsive on any device. But we have built it, of course, as per usual, in a beautiful mobile first layout, because that's most likely where 90% of your traffic will be coming from. So I'll open the funnel right now. and boom, there we go. It's immediately the exact same funnel that I just shared with you. And notice the loading speed, right? So that was blazing fast. We have the entire section here. If we click on the button like this, we have our registration here, of course. And then if we were to run through this entire form now, then we would see the Tripwire page. All right, so now moving on to the actual $100 million launch offer. And as you can see here, we have all the custom elements that he also has used. So in this case, I did a little bit of vibe marketing and built the custom elements with HTML, but it's actually quite straightforward. Everything is beautifully responsive here, works super well. The logic works, the forwarding works within the funnel. And down here, you'll see that we have one of our classic sales page, proven sales page templates also added. But as I said, right, if you want to edit anything within these templates, you can simply click on the plus, you can move around things, you can move around the columns. So everything is very, very easy to change within these templates if you're using Perspective. All right, so that's the landing page. From there on, we have the core offer checkout, right? So depending on what you'll choose here, in this case, the $100 million funnel templates bundle, and I just did a copy, of course, but if you choose that, you're led to the core offer checkout, which is the $6,000 offer right here with the Stripe integration and the checkout block set up already. Now, if you were to choose the $100 million funnel template, so the one hardback, in this case, the $29 option, then you're sent to the downsell page. And I actually can show you what that looks like on the live funnel as well. So we just simply open it up. We have immediately this beautiful custom element loading. If I want to have the $6,000 option, right, and I click the button right here, then we're led to the $6,000 option page. Now, if I go back, and we choose the one copy option right there, the button changes a little bit. If we click on that, we're sent to a different page, in this case, the $29 offer. So that works beautifully within Perspective. And from there on, we of course have all the other pages built out as well. So let's quickly break them down. What does that look like? So for example, if we go to the downsell page, we of course need to have the order bump, right? So in his case, he sold 15 more books. In this case, I just chose a consulting session worth $500. And so within our funnel, if we just quickly move to the downsell page, we have our order bump right there. So if I click the order bump, boom, I'm sent to another checkout, in this case, selling the order bump, including the previous offer that we had, right? So we have the order bump checkout built out in the funnel, of course, as well. That's a total of 528. And in this case, the integration works as well. And we have a beautiful little checkout. Then from there on, we of course need the $3,000 a month offer, right? So that's the continuity. And so if we run through these checkouts and we do that successfully, then we have the continuity upsell. Also modeled the entire page right there with careful, don't click away on the top, the headline right there, a little bit more content, the VSL, plus the call to action. Now, considering we click on no thanks, we don't want to have this one-time offer. From there on, people are finally led to the thank you page, which again has the VSL or has a VSL saying thank you. This is exactly how you implement everything that you have just purchased. And yeah, people can take it from there. So yeah, that's the entire thing. And just to recap, within the $100 million registrations funnel template, we have the landing page, the start page, we have the sign up, we have the upsell page, we have the upsell checkout and the confirmation, of course. And then within the $100 million launch offer, we have the core offer sales page, we have the core offer checkout, the downsell checkout, the order bump checkout, and the continuity upsell, as well as the thank you page. Exactly. So that is most likely what I'll exactly implement into our existing funnels as well. I'm super keen to leverage this template for us. And now I'll show you how to actually copy and paste it into your own Perspective account. Okay, so you basically now have two options. Option number one is you can grab a free trial of Perspective and just try to model this funnel as closely as possible as I just laid it out for you. You can use the entire app completely free for 14 days. And if you like it, it rolls over to be $149 a month for a business plan. And option number two is, because I'm personally so excited about this and will implement many of these concepts into our funnels, I want to give you the chance to do the same for yourself. And so we have decided to give you an entire month of the Perspective Funnels business plan and both $100 million money models launch templates for a one-time payment of $49. That's a 66% discount right there. And with that, you have 30 days to build your own super successful launch funnel. So to recap, option number one, grab a 14-day free trial and rebuild this yourself. Or option number two, get an entire month of Perspective Funnels for a third of the price and have the templates instantly be added to your account. You'll find links to both below this video. And by the way, if you're already using Perspective, just give us a shout and we'll pass you the templates. Either way, I really hope you enjoyed watching. I'll head into implementing this now and I'm wishing you lots of success with that. Cheers.